I think it's very interesting how nobody has come out and clearly said he's lying. Nobody. Luda made a freestyle. Kevin Hart, it was a basketball game or NBA game on, you know how they'll have like the little like commentary down on another channel. And he had his crew on there and they was saying some jokes about this, about Katt or whatever. Cedric was on the red carpet. He said, you know, everybody just kind of alluding to Katt, you know, maybe being on drugs or whatever, or this and that. But nobody has flat out said what he said was not correct. Am I mistaken? I don't know. I haven't seen it. I haven't heard it.
Nope.
You could throw all the other stuff, but nobody has said Katt is lying.
Yeah.
But
welcome to the Clear in the Air podcast with D and Q.
I'm Katt.
Oh my God. I'm Q. Hey man. Back for another
See
one.
you, brother. Happy
Yes,
New
sir.
Year, my
Happy
guy.
New Year. Yeah. Season 4 is upon us. Before we even get started into anything, we just want to again thank you guys for continued support. We want to thank you guys for following, subscribing. Before we get into it, hey, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Make sure that you are following us on all those platforms. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. We got a lot of great things coming up in season 4, and we don't want you to miss anything. Now, we jump into the new year with that heat.
Man. It's starting out the year real spicy. Real spicy, bro.
We need you to give us that background.
Okay, so Club Shay Shay, Uncle Shannon podcast. He had Katt Williams on there. Everybody know who Katt Williams is. Very funny comedian. But Katt is different. Katt is different. He's very upfront. He gonna give it to you straight, no chaser. And he was on the podcast and did this interview where he came for a lot of people. We're gonna say that.
Yeah.
We're gonna say that. A lot of people, like comedians, entertainers, actors. You know, just he went in, bro. He went in to the point where Uncle Shannon he couldn't even really respond. Like Uncle Shannon just kept. He's like, "Oh, I need nothing." So, yeah, man. He. I think the biggest thing was Katt. I think in his mind, Katt was thinking he was responding to other people that was on Club Shay Shay. And it was like, why would you have them on your platform lying? They're blatantly lying. So he came on there and he wanted to spit facts.
Right.
So I think that's where everything that's where it stemmed from. He exposed a lot of things, you know, especially in Hollywood, Hollyweird. But yeah, he called out a lot of people, you know, a lot of his contemporaries.
Yeah, let's talk about who he called out.
Okay.
So
we'll start first. He went hard on Cedric the Entertainer, Ricky Smiley, Huff, T.D. Jakes, Ludacris.
Did he mention Gary Owens, Gary Blackson?
Michael Blackson.
Michael
Gary
Blackson. Oh my God, we gotta leave that one.
Yeah. Michael Blackson. He said something about Gary Owens. Yeah. Faison Love caught some strays. Oh, Steve Harvey. For sure.
Yes. Bernie Mac.
But
he bigged up Bernie.
Yeah, he bigged up Bernie.
Yeah.
While throwing shots at the rest of the Kings. He bigged up D.L. Hewley too. He bigged up D.L. Hewley. Oh, Tiffany Haddish caught a couple strays.
Yes.
Am I forgetting anybody?
I think that. Well, I mean, he went for so many.
Yeah.
If we missed somebody, I mean, I'm glad they probably could use to not be mentioned.
Yeah. Oh, Kevin Hart. How did we
Kevin Hart. Yes.
Oh my God, Kevin Hart. How did we forget that?
Lord. I knew
he might have got it. We go. Oh my God, how we forget that?
Yeah, we're gonna get into that.
Yeah, I know he said some stuff about Harvey Weinstein and stuff like that. You know.
Yeah.
Everybody getting on Harvey.
Right.
As they should.
Yeah, I like what you said, that it was kind of him responding to not anybody necessarily shading him, but him responding to what he felt like was lies. Well, let's ask this question before this next question.
Okay.
Was it more of a conversation, or was it more or less, I'm coming on here and I'm just obliterating everybody? Like, what do you think the style of this kind of was? Because yes, it's an interview, but like you said, I don't even know if Shannon asked about all those people he went at.
He voluntarily spoke on all the voluntarily just spoke on all those issues, and I think that's why Shannon was so taken aback.
Right.
Shannon's like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? Because several people that he was talking about, Shannon had on his show, and he's probably cool with. So Cedric, Ricky Smiley.
I was gonna say he even said that it was kind of weird for him to a degree because these people he knows he's cool with.
Steve Harvey was on there.
Yeah.
So
it's tough in that sense.
It was almost like a therapy session for Katt. You know, he was like on the couch and just letting everything out.
Yeah.
So it was interesting.
It was.
It was an interesting way to start the new year.
It was. So you kind of led on to it a second ago. Who do you think got it the worst?
I would probably say Kevin Hart. He went in on. I think the comedians got it the worst. I think Kevin. He went hard on Cedric. He went hard on Steve.
Give me one.
Okay.
And I'm gonna give you one.
Okay. I'll say Kevin. I think he went hard on Kevin, and they've had kind of that
back and forth.
Yeah. For years.
Yeah.
You know, by just saying he was like an industry plant, and
right.
You know, I think he insinuated that he's not funny.
Right.
You know, he's like he's never had sold out shows or something he was saying with Kevin Hart. He was saying, oh, maybe that was Cedric. He was saying somebody don't like.
He said about sold out shows. He went ahead at Ricky. He said that to Ricky Smiley.
Okay.
Ricky Smiley responded to that.
Okay.
But he did mention that he didn't have anything sold out before he came to Hollywood.
Right.
That's what he said.
Right, okay.
Yeah. For me, I think Steve Harvey.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you the reason why I said Steve Harvey. I say Steve Harvey because he went there about the Kings of the Comedy, because that was technically Steve Harvey's. Well, he says it was Steve Harvey's show, and then they made it, you know what I'm saying, Kings of the Comedy.
Right.
But it was really his
I'm going to
joint.
need you to say Kings of Comedy, not the comedy. Like,
I'm sounding like an old black man. You know, the old black man always says wrong. Or add an S at the end of the joint of everything. Going down to Targets.
With that Walmarts.
But I think Steve, because he went at him about the Kings of Comedy joint, which had a Bernie Mac implication.
Mm-hmm. How Bernie was the funniest, and that's why he ended the show.
Yeah. And then you also had I think because he talked about his hair.
He talked about the hair.
And as a bald head dude, y'all ain't gonna never see me on season 6 with a whole waves and a fade. Nah, son, I'm bald. That's what it is. But he went at that. He went at the wives situation.
Went at the wives. He also, with Steve, he was saying that he battled Steve and Steve lost some show. Was it in Detroit or something? With one of like 10,000 people. And he pretty much said that Steve Harvey lost. Oh, he was saying Steve Harvey was saying he didn't want to be a movie. Something because he had so many shows or something. He didn't want to be a movie star because he had so many shows. But he was saying at the time you didn't have those shows, right? And then he said that he called Ocean 11 to get Bernie Mac's part. Yeah. He said that, and he went at the wives, Marjorie.
And then the last part. Which to me is kind of a shade at your whole situation, is the Mark Curry situation.
Yes.
So, you know, you basically saying you bit off somebody else. And then now if you hear Mark Curry is agreeing with it.
Yes.
So that's tough. That's tough. So Kevin Hart, like, you can call somebody an industry plant. You know, it is what it is, and you can make that assumption or whatever's the case. But it's a difference between an industry plant and a copycat. Because you can still be successful as an industry plant. To say somebody is a copycat, that's like saying like plagiarism and you're a fraud. So I think Steve Harvey got it the worst.
That's, you know, now looking back on it and how you broke it down, I would kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
And just because he's always had the back and forth with Kevin, but this is the first time I can remember that Steve Harvey's been put on blast like that, to that level.
To that level. Yeah. I heard about the beef or the supposed beef between him and Bernie Mac, which leads me into another thing.
Steve Harvey, Bernie Mac.
I'm sorry, yeah, Steve Harvey. That's what, since we're talking about Steve Harvey.
Right.
So Steve Harvey and Bernie Mac, thanks for clarifying that. I've heard about it. And so
Steve
I think,
discussed it. On
yeah. But you know, it's always different when somebody else can give you the raw truth of a situation, because sometimes we hold back. And so I like that Bernie Mac's daughter responded. She bigged up Katt. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she bigged up Katt, and she kind of confirms in general stuff about her dad, like how, you know, all the people who giving him love now didn't do that when he was alive. And honestly, Bernie Mac, bro, we talked about it. He in my top 3. Didn't we do the top 3 comedians, top 5?
Yeah, we did.
So he one of the favorite, 3. He one of the my favorite comedians, easily. Oh, he went at Jonathan Majors too, but he didn't go at him. He didn't go at him like that. He was just kind of, you know. Having said that, all that we've said, do you think that this? Like, do you agree with his method of putting people out there? Do you think there was a better way?
Entertainment wise, I mean, he gave us all what we probably was. Not, I don't want to say looking for it because it came as a surprise, but you know, for this platform and how we talk about how men communicate and different things like that, you know, if we're looking at it on that scale, then obviously it could have been handled differently. Again, for shock value and entertainment purposes, you know, you can't argue with it, but you know, when you think about it, you know, overall, like, you know. But again, I mean, that's Katt. That's what we expect of Katt. And I think it was a lot of things that he had on his that he had to get off his chest. You know.
So I like what you just did because you saw it from both sides, right? And when we clear the air, we're gonna talk about something else. But I like what you just did because if the podcast is about how to communicate, right? Shock value and putting people out there and this, that, and the third is probably not the way, and there's a better way, right? However, what I believe Katt has gone through a lot in the industry. I believe, and he went there, you know, talking about people paying you to keep your mouth shut. So a person like him, he's not gonna keep his mouth shut, and he's gonna keep it a buck. And I know that he's had issues with being in and out of jail and, you know, all this stuff like that. You know, meanwhile, people not coming to your rescue that say they friends of yours and this, that, and the third, and letting you stay where you are, whatever. I think Lil Boosie said
he didn't even know him. And gave him what,
$15,000
out of jail?
Yeah. Sounds like somebody who could have used that themselves when they were in that type of situation, so he could relate. But the point I'm about to make is, but was it the wrong way to go about it? Because like you said, it kind of seemed like a therapy session for him. So if I'm on the couch, what's any different than if he said this in a therapy session and got it all out versus if how he said it with Uncle Shay's podcast? That's Unc. That's Unc. And so if you know, and he went there with a person who knows a lot of these people, could probably be seen in some of the same circles as some of these people.
And he saw those people on that same platform, on that same couch, And he's like, why are they lying? Why are they telling lies?
So for clarification purposes, I think, he said some things and then just got on a roll. Mm-hmm. I think also, like you said, I think it was probably therapeutic for him to get some of that out. Mm-hmm. When he was talking about Diddy, mm-hmm. he said, just don't go to the party.
He was like, because Diddy want to party. And I didn't want to go to the party.
We're going to leave that stuff alone for the time being.
You know what I'm saying? That's what he said. So, but he was talking, he and how can I say, he alluded to a lot. He's saying that there's like some funny stuff going on in Hollywood, and in order for you to survive, I don't even want to say survive. In order for you to be successful in Hollywood, you almost have to
compromise.
Who you have, yes, and a lot of that was dealing with your manhood.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And he pretty much was saying, I was not willing to sacrifice my manhood.
Mm-hmm. So that leads to this before we clear the air, even with him talking about how a lot of the major comedians, they always end up in the dress. Mm-hmm. That was another thing. Yeah. And again, you kind of got to look at, we're not in Hollywood, so we don't know, but you kind of got to look at the facts and what's out there. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to, just saying.
The story with Martin Lawrence, bro, when he like...
So even Martin was,
you know what I'm saying? He was like, he had Big Mama's house too. He was like, really? Really? And you know what's crazy about that? The person that was in it, Brandon T. Jackson, he said that was the worst mistake he made. Yeah. And, in taking that role in Big Mama's house too, because he was like, every time after that, they wanted him to play a character like being a dress.
Right. And so you got Martin, mm-hmm. Eddie, mm-hmm. who else did it? Ricky Smiley.
Tyler Perry, of course.
Tyler Perry. Miss Doubtfire.
Robin Williams. I don't know. But with
Dave Chappelle never did it.
Unless he did it on like his sitcom show or something. But his show back in the day. But I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Well, y'all get the point. Yeah. That is some validity to what he's saying, because you just said Brandon T. Jackson. Mm-hmm. He's he's not one of the bigger stars, but the bigger stars, like I said, we just named some of them. So Katt ain't wrong with, maybe you don't like the delivery of how he said it, but I don't know if I would necessarily say that he's wrong about what he shared.
And let me say this, and you said it earlier. Katt is what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. You see what I'm saying? And he gonna stand for what's right, even if it's in his mind. He's like, what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. Remember, when he said about Michael Jackson, you know what I mean? And people got in the tizzy about that. But he's like, what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. He was accused of doing whatever, and he was like, that's not cool. Yeah. So he talked about it. So nobody is off limits when it comes to Katt Williams. But I think in this particular situation, again, he felt like people were lying. So that was his opportunity to address the lies.
To clear the air. Which, by the way, that gives us that time to clear the air. How should we settle our differences? Whether we debate on if Katt was wrong or right in the way that he did it, as men, I do think, just speaking in general, we need to find better ways to settle our differences. A lot of the ways in which we settle differences now are we approach people with the intent of, I'm gonna tell you how wrong you were. If you don't agree with it, it might be on. Now we fighting in the streets. That could lead to gun violence, arrests, somebody lose their life, something like that, right? I'm gonna say this much, right? And it's not necessarily with the intent of being spiritual, but I'm gonna say it anyway. The Bible specifically says, if you have a gift, put the gift down, go get it right with your brother or sister, okay? Be intentional about getting it right, right? So what's that mean? I'm not gonna come at you with I'm going to come at you with the issue, but with the intent of trying to come to a resolve. If I need to tell you how I feel or what actions you took or made that make me feel a certain kind of way, let me address that with you, give you the opportunity to correct it, or you say your piece. And at the end of the day, if we can't come to a resolve, hey, listen, we go our separate ways. More than likely, I don't interact with you anymore so that we can avoid future disputes or future issues, right? No harm felt, no issues, we keep it moving. You get home safe, I get home safe, okay? A thing I also think that should be done, which is also biblical, is try to do things in the company of others, right? And try to do things, try to reach out to people. Try to do so, again, with the company of people, not just for witness purposes, right? But so that things don't get out of hand. This is another topic for another day, but we're so much in an era where we go to social media quick and we start posting, stuff of, what this person did. Did you reach out to that person first? Because more than likely, we're not doing that. We just reach out to social media and tell the world we have a problem with this person. Now, people get involved, and let's just be honest. We said this before, and hip-hop is always going to be a conversation on this podcast of how, with the East Coast, West Coast stuff, Biggie and Pac could have figured that out. They would have figured it out. If they were still alive today, I guarantee you, they would probably be even tighter than what they were before all the beef. Move Puffy, move Suge out the way. Them dudes, because they knew each other before them too.
Sit them down in a room.
And let them hash it out.
And have a conversation.
Let them hash it out.
But again, you got two coasts involved, all these other people, opinions, theories, and all this and that, and now we lost both.
Now you lost both. So
I want to say one thing.
I knew you had something.
I had something, and I wanted to say it before we cleared it. I think it's very interesting how the responses that Katt has gotten from the people that he sent shots at. So it's interesting that nobody has come out and clearly said he's lying. Nobody. Luda made a freestyle, but that's what he do. He a rapper. You know what I mean? Kevin Hart, it was a basketball game or NBA game on. How they'll have like the little commentary down on another channel, and he had his crew on there, and they was saying some jokes about Katt or whatever. Cedric was on the red carpet. He said, everybody just kind of alluding to Katt, maybe being on drugs or whatever, or this or that. But nobody has flat out said what he said was not correct. Am I mistaken? I don't know. I haven't seen it. I haven't heard it.
No.
You could throw all them other stuff, but nobody has said Katt is lying.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying it's not going to come out sooner or later, because some people will say, when the time is right, they'll address it. But
a lie is what did Katt say? Wrong is wrong and right is right. If he was wrong, when somebody asks you about it, you don't have to get into it. You could just say, I don't agree, or he was wrong. You going into talking about his drug habits and all this other stuff that don't have nothing. They ain't have nothing to do with it. Which sounds
what he said about you, correct or no?
Right, and what we know is that deflecting is something that we do as humans.
Yes.
We're gonna talk about that.
Definitely talk about deflection. Yes.
Yep. So yeah. Well, listen, y'all. I've already asked y'all. I'm gonna ask you again. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's where we put everything. Please also make sure that you are subscribing and following us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Please make sure you're doing that for the audio experience. But also, we would like for you to make sure that you're checking us out on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. All right? We want to make sure that for season 4, you don't miss a thing. We'll catch y'all on the next episode.
Peace.